Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in again for Tea Times. Today we're going to be talking about pitch shots. Okay, so yesterday's lesson revolved all around chipping. And just a quick little recap, we talked about the BLT method for chipping, back, lean, tilt. Okay, and that was designed to set us up in a great position in order to hit a chip shot. Again, a little reminder, the chip shot is a shot that's designed to get up into the air, but primarily once it lands, the goal of a chip is to have it release and run out to our target. So if you think about it in terms of the overall shot, let's say that the distance between my hands is 10 yards, about 30 feet. A chip shot might be a shot that flies the first 4 or 5 yards and then rolls out, the first 4 or 5 feet, and then rolls out the remaining 20 to 25 feet. I know I mixed that up, my bad. So if you think about it that way, the ball is in the air for a much shorter period of time. Today, however, again with our 10-yard shot, 30-foot shot, today we're going to be working on a shot called a pitch shot. And now the pitch shot might be a shot that flies a majority of the way in the air to the target so that when it lands, it rolls a shorter distance. So if you think about the characteristics of a pitch shot versus a chip shot, much lower, more roll. Pitch shot, much higher, less roll. Makes sense, okay? So before we get started with all of the mechanics of the swing, we're gonna start with something as simple as ball position, okay? So for a chip, reminder, when we were chipping, we were all the way back here, right? Ball back in the stance. For a pitch shot, we want to have the ball position more in the middle of our feet. Now, once you get used to hitting this shot, you might play around with this and find that your sweet spot's still a little bit behind. But when we talk about hitting a pitch, what we want to do is make sure that when we hit this golf ball, we are giving the club as much loft as we can. And that's why I recommend hitting this with your sand wedge. As you can see here, this is my 58 degree. It's really close. It's between a sand wedge and a lob wedge. Now, again, once you get more familiar with this shot, you can actually use these mechanics for the pitch swing with other clubs in your bag to get different results. So you can hit a pitch with a pitching wedge or a 9-iron. It's just gonna roll more than if you were to use this club, like your sand wedge. Conversely, I have actually three wedges in my bag other than my pitching wedge. So I have a 58, a 52, and a utility wedge. And I can pitch with all of those and get slightly different results. So again, it's all about practice. You guys are gonna learn how to hit this shot and then decide, what club you prefer to hit it with the most. I like this club because this is gonna give me the least amount of roll. In a situation where I'm pitching over a chip shot, I probably want the least amount of roll that I can get. So this is really helpful in situations where you might be going over a bunker, or maybe the green kind of it's an odd shape and the pin's tucked way in the back and you have a bunch of rough to carry over. This is the type of shot you want to use. So back to our mechanics of the shot, okay? So ball a little bit closer to the middle of our stance. Again, we're trying to use the loft. And remember, part of our BLT for chipping was tilting the club, getting our hands in front of the ball. Well, what that actually does is it takes loft away from the club face. Remember, goal of a pitch shot, hit the ball up in the air. So we don't want to do that. What we want to do is hit the ball with a pretty up and down shaft of our golf club. And so that's how we want to set up. We want to set up just like we're going to strike this ball, okay? So those two things, really important. As we talked about yesterday, the contact is also really important, because if I have my ball and my club like this, if I don't get my loft of the club underneath the golf ball, there's no chance that this ball is going to go up into the air. If I hit it like this, it'll use the loft of the club. But if I'm up here, there's no chance. It's just going to take off low bullet. It's just gonna run forever, okay? So, keep on going here. The pitch swing, okay? I'm giving you guys the stuff we talked about with chipping so that you have something to compare it to, okay? When we chipped, we used a shoulder stroke and we kept our Y pretty much intact the entire time. When it comes to pitching, what we want to do is we want to use our wrists in this stroke. And generally speaking, when I hit a pitch shot, I like to bring the club up to about my waist height. All right, that's a good starting point. It's not perfect for every single pitch shot that you're gonna hit. You might want to increase the length of that stroke if you have a longer shot. But for now, we're gonna go with a waist-high swing, so the club stops parallel to your waist. And you'll notice that when I do that, I no longer have my Y, do I? I'm not up here like this. I'm letting my wrist break. We call this a hinge in a golf swing. We let our wrist break so that they stay the same height as the golf club. Okay? We're not way up here like this. We're right here. So wrist and golf club, waist high, and then mirror on the other side of your golf swing. So again, a little demonstration. Just like that. And you'll notice that when I get to the golf ball, I'm right back here where I started. I'm not back here and flicking my wrist. I'm still keeping everything together and following through. I think the biggest mistake people make when they hit this shot is that when they get to the golf ball, they do one of two things. They either stop like that, they call that decelerating, and when that happens, you're very likely to hit a shot that goes about 2 feet in front of you because your club's gonna hit the ground, you're not making solid contact. You always, always, always want to accelerate through the golf ball, okay? So when we say accelerate through the golf ball, that means that our swing on the backswing could be a little bit shorter than maybe what initially feels comfortable. Because I think so many people get into that trap because they take a really long backswing and then realize, wait, I'm only going 20 feet this direction. So now I need to slow down when I get to the golf ball. That's number one. Number two, biggest mistake people make when they hit this shot is when they get back up into here, they start flicking the wrist early. So if you see how this looks right now in the camera, when my club gets to the ball, it's actually ahead of my hands. And you guys can tell that because the shaft is actually angled this direction, right? If anything, we would rather be on the other side. If we're not straight up and down, utilizing all the loft of that club, we would rather be a little in front because, again, we strive for consistency in golf, right? Well, I'll tell you that if you hit shots like this, far, far, far more consistent than hitting shots back here and flicking the wrist. So what I tell students all the time is that when you take your swing back on this shot like this, what I want you guys to imagine is that when you get down to the ball, your wrists are going to be duct taped to your golf club. So what does that feel like? Well, that feels like that if I got to here, there's no way that I could make this motion because that duct tape would be constricting my hands, right? What we want to do is keep everything together in one piece and follow through. Again, accelerating through impact so that we don't get into that trap of, because I promise you, if you've been out golfing, you've seen a shot exactly like that, okay? So, again, I like my little ping pong ball. It's safe, I don't have to worry about hitting anything. If we do this shot properly, we can do our contact test just like with chipping, okay? We take the club back, go through, and I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but when I hit those chip shots, you couldn't really see how the ball ended up, but you could see the initial trajectory of it. That ball was probably like down in here. It barely ever got above this high off the ground. That pitch shot, way up here, almost taller than I am. So you can see how a little club change and doing those mechanical things differently really impacts how much of this loft gets into our golf shot. Now it comes to practicing this, right? Like, how are we gonna tell if we're doing it properly? I think the best way to do it, if you guys have your ping pong balls, I really encourage you to use those, because even though they don't fly very far, they will give you a really good read on how you're contacting the ball and if you're hitting it properly and doing the technique properly, okay? The ping pong ball will still show you if you're hitting the ball thin and it's rolling a lot. The ping pong ball will still show you if you're catching the ball fat and it's not going anywhere. The only thing is you won't break any windows with this ping pong ball, so that's always a good thing, okay? And then find yourself something that you can aim for. For me, in this instance, I've got a park bench right over here. It's not the tallest thing in the world, but I feel that if I'm hitting this shot properly, this ball will 100% fly over that park bench. And I don't know if you guys saw the example from earlier, but it definitely did. So that's my goal. I only have one ping pong ball, but if you go to the store, you can pick up a pack of like 6 of them for $1.50. They're very, very cheap, okay? And you don't need anything fancy for this. This is just to see how we're hitting this shot. So, got it. And as you can see, we got over the park bench, okay? That was a great pitch technique. A couple things you might have noticed. We stopped at about waist high. We followed through, we accelerated through, we didn't stop our club and decelerate, okay? When we hit the ball, our hands were not flicking through with our wrists like this and behind the golf ball. We were right here, if not right here perfect, we might have been a little in front of it, okay? Great contact. Again, you see that with the ball flight, okay? So I would love for you guys to try this at home in your backyard. If you've got the space, you can definitely do this with real golf balls too. I've got the same target here, got the little park bench. I can still hit this shot over the park bench just like that with a real golf ball. Obviously it's gonna be a little bit heavier, you might need a little bit more power than with the ping pong ball, okay? Go in your backyards, try this out. Let me know how it goes down in the comments below. All right guys, it's part of that time of the video. It's our walk and talk. I kind of like the idea of doing our life skills like this. Feels more natural for me to talk to you guys while I'm walking. Today though, we're gonna kind of keep the topic that we were talking about yesterday in mind. So yesterday we were talking about learning something new. We talked about breaking it up into manageable chunks and then kind of tackling each of those chunks separately so that our big problem becomes more manageable in tiny, smaller problems. I mentioned as part of my thing, building a computer was my problem. I had no idea how to do it. I broke it up into smaller chunks and it was a lot easier of a thing for me to accomplish. Keeping in theme with that, what we're gonna talk about are the 3 tips for having fun. So if you've been in the par level of the program before, you have probably heard these 3 tips, okay? And what they are is be patient, be positive, and ask for help. Now, the reason why this leads to us having more fun when we're learning something new is because if you think about it, how fun is it to not have any idea how to do something and just, you know, beat yourself up over and over, trying it over and over. We talk about perseverance, right? And that's certainly a good trait to have, but you guys know it's hard to be perseverant in a situation where you don't really know what you're doing, how to get better at it, how to fix it, right? So patience is obviously really important. We always preach that in this program. Being positive, that helps so much with your outlook, with being perseverance, having a good attitude. Yes, that's important. But I think that 3rd thing, asking for help, that's the thing that people forget about all the time. They feel like they're too proud or they can't ask somebody for help. I know for me, one of the things that I kind of regret is not asking like my dad or my grandfather for help with my golf game, because for whatever reason, kid me didn't think that they knew as good as I did. When in reality, they had all these years of experience that gave them fantastic insights into the golf game. I should have been able to say, hey Dad, can you take a look at my golf swing and see, what's going on? Like, what do you see? And guess what? Even if your parents don't have any experience in golf, if you tell them what you're working on, so let's say from today's video, let's say that you're working on your hand position at impact. So let's say that you're working on trying not to be back here, and you're trying to work on getting your hands a little bit more forward at impact. Ask your parents. They have eyes, they can see that. Even if they don't have golf background, they can help you accomplish the things you want to accomplish. All right, so remember guys, be patient, be positive, ask for help. 3 tips for having fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Workout Wednesday.